My hand was trembling, but not from the weight of the champagne glass. It was pure joy. Beside me, my fiancé, Amir, wrapped his arm around my waist, his smile as bright as the lights strung up in the Nile Garden Hall. This was it. The perfect moment. Our families and friends were all here, their faces turned toward us, waiting. I lifted my glass. "I'm so thrilled to announce," I started, my voice shaking with happiness, "that Amir and I are engaged." The room burst into applause. I beamed at Amir, and he leaned in to kiss my temple. But the applause died too quickly. It was cut short by a single, sharp sound. A chair scraping back. My older sister, Salma, was standing. Her face was not smiling. It was a mask of cold fury, and her eyes were locked on me. The moment I announced my engagement, my jealous sister stood up and told everyone. Her voice, loud and clear, sliced through the beautiful room. That this entire engagement is a lie. The music stopped. A glass shattered somewhere in the back. "She's lying to all of you. She's only marrying Amir to cover up the fact that she's pregnant with another man's child." My heart stopped. I mean it. It just stopped. Amir's arm went stiff. My mother gasped. I couldn't breathe. The world wasn't spinning. It was just frozen, silent, and staring at me. My perfect moment had just become my worst nightmare. This was the worst moment of my life. Has anything like this ever happened to you? If you've ever felt betrayed, share your story in the comments. And please, subscribe for more stories. Amir's hand, which had been holding me so tightly, dropped from my waist. It felt like a 100-pound weight had been lifted, leaving me cold and exposed. He didn't look at me. He just stared at Salma, his face pale. "What did she say?" he whispered, but he wasn't asking me. He was asking the room, as if he couldn't believe his own ears. I finally found my voice, but it came out as a squeak. "Salma, what are you doing? That's not true. Stop it." Salma just let out a cold, sharp laugh. It was a sound I knew well, a sound that always meant she was about to be cruel. "Not true. Oh, Layla, don't lie. Not now. I saw the positive pregnancy test in your bathroom trash this morning. I saw it with my own eyes." She turned to the crowd, her arms wide. "Tell them, Layla. Or should I?" I looked at my parents, my eyes begging for help. My father was looking at the floor, his face red with shame. My mother had her hand over her mouth, her eyes wide with horror. "Oh, Layla, no," she whispered. And in that second I knew. I knew they weren't going to defend me. They believed her. My own mother and father believed my sister's monstrous lie over me. The feeling of betrayal was so strong, so fast, it made me sick to my stomach. I was completely, terrifyingly alone. Before I could even try to defend myself, before I could scream or cry, Salma moved. She reached into her small, expensive purse and pulled something out. It was a small, crumpled white and blue object. The pregnancy test. My heart hammered against my ribs. It was mine. But it wasn't what she thought. She didn't look at it. She just threw it onto the white linen of the gift table, right next to a silver platter. It landed with a tiny plastic click that sounded like a gunshot in the silent room. "She's pregnant," Salma announced again, pointing at the test as if it were a murder weapon. "And I know it's not yours, Amir." She finally looked at him, her eyes soft with fake pity. "I know because she's been secretly seeing her ex, Khaled, for months." The name hit me like a slap. Khaled. I hadn't even spoken to Khaled in 2 years. This was a nightmare. It was a lie built on top of a lie. Amir's head slowly turned from Salma to me. His face was blank, his eyes cold and empty. All the love from 2 minutes ago was gone. "Layla," he asked, his voice flat. Is that yours?" I was trapped. I couldn't lie, but the truth was too complicated. "Yes," I gasped, my voice barely audible. "But Amir, it's not what she's saying. Please, it's not. It's not what it looks like. I tried to say, but my words were drowned out. The whispers in the room had started as a low hiss, but now they were a roar. I could hear words clearly. Pregnant. Khaled. Always thought she was too sweet. Poor Amir. It was a wave of judgment, and it was pushing me under. I reached for Amir's hand, the one that had been on my waist, but he pulled it away before I could touch him. He looked at me, his eyes full of a new, terrible betrayal. He believed her. I can't, he said, his voice thick. He wasn't just talking to me. He was talking to everyone. I can't. He didn't wait for another word of explanation. He didn't yell. He didn't ask questions. He just turned, his back straight, and walked. He walked right out of the hall, past our families, past our friends, and out the big double doors, leaving me alone in the center of the room. The doors swung shut behind him with a soft whoosh that felt like a final goodbye. I stood there, frozen, watching the doors he had disappeared through. My legs felt like they were made of concrete. I couldn't move. I could only feel the hundreds of eyes on me, an audience for my total humiliation. I slowly turned my head and looked at my sister. Salma was sipping her champagne, a tiny, perfect, triumphant smile on her face. She had won. The party was over. What was left of it dissolved into clumps of people whispering and shaking their heads before grabbing their coats and leaving. No one said goodbye to me. No one even looked at me. It was like I was a ghost at my own funeral. Finally, it was just my parents and me, standing in the middle of the beautiful empty room. I was sobbing now, ugly, gasping sobs that hurt my chest. I turned to my mother. Why? I choked out. Why didn't you stop her? Why didn't you say anything? You know what she's like. My father, who had been silent this whole time, finally looked at me, but his eyes were full of disappointment, not sympathy. Layla, this is a terrible humiliation for the family, he said, his voice low and angry. To do this, pregnant? And with Khaled? After everything? My mother just wrung her hands, her eyes filled with tears. We just don't know what to think, Layla. Salma has never lied like this before. Not about something this big. My tears dried up instantly, replaced by a cold, sharp shock. They believed her. They truly, 100% believed her. They thought I was the liar. They thought Salma, who had been planting little seeds of lies about me our entire lives, was the one telling the truth. I realized in that moment that I wasn't just abandoned by Amir. I was abandoned by my entire family. I ran. I pushed past my parents and ran out of the hall, my heels clicking on the tile. I fumbled for my keys, my hands shaking so hard I could barely unlock my car. I drove to Amir's apartment in Zamalek, not even remembering the streets I took to get there. I had to explain. If I could just talk to him, face to face, he would see the truth in my eyes. I got to his building and ran to his door. I pounded on it, using my fist. Amir, please, open the door. It's a lie. She's lying. There was no answer. I pounded until my knuckles were red and sore. Please. I cried, my voice breaking. I leaned my head against the wooden door, defeated. But I couldn't give up. I pulled out my phone, my fingers flying across the screen. I sent him a frantic, desperate text message. Amir, please, you have to listen to me. The test was from last week. It was negative. I was scared I was late, so I took it. I threw it in the trash and forgot about it. I haven't seen Khaled in 2 years, I promise. I don't even have his number. Salma is lying. She hates me. Please, you have to believe me. Please just call me. I stared at the phone, praying. The delivered receipt turned to read. He had seen it. My heart jumped. He would call. He would text back. I waited. 1 minute. 5 minutes. 10. And then, nothing. Just silence. He had read my explanation, and he still didn't believe me. I drove home in a daze. The city lights of Cairo blurred through my tears. I felt numb, empty, like a doll whose stuffing had been pulled out. When I got to my family's apartment, I just wanted to go to my room and disappear. But she was waiting for me. Salma was sitting on the sofa in the living room, calmly filing her nails as if nothing had happened. "Well," she smirked, not even looking up. "That was fun. You finally got to be the center of attention. Just like you've always wanted." The numbness vanished, replaced by a hot, bitter rage. "Why?" I choked out, my voice raw. "Why would you do that? You didn't just embarrass me. You ruined my life." Salma finally looked up, her eyes flashing with a poison I knew so well. "You ruined my life," she hissed, standing up. "You stole him. You knew I liked Amir first. Years ago, I told you I thought he was perfect. And what did you do? You waited until he noticed you. You took him from me. You deserve this. You deserve to feel as bad as I have." I couldn't speak. She was living in a fantasy. I didn't. I started. "Save it," she snapped. "And by the way, I'm the one who told Khaled you were asking about him. Have fun trying to prove that's a lie too." My blood went cold. What did she mean? Before I could even ask, my phone rang in my hand. I looked down at the screen, my heart stopping all over again. The name flashing on the screen was Khaled. It was him. After 2 years of silence, he was calling me, now, on the worst night of my life. This had to be Salma's doing. My hand was shaking so badly I almost dropped the phone. I pressed the accept button, my mouth dry. "Hello, Layla. What's going on?" His voice was hesitant, confused. "Your sister, Salma, called me. She said you're pregnant with my kid and that you're trying to trap some new guy. Is that true? What's happening?" I sank against the wall, my legs giving out. "Khaled, no," I sobbed, the last of my energy draining away. "It's a lie. It's all a lie. Salma. She hates me. She made it all up. I haven't seen you, I'm not pregnant, He was quiet on the other end. For a second, I thought he might help. He could call Amir. He could tell everyone the truth. "Khaled, please," I begged. "You have to tell them it's not true." There was a long pause, and then he sighed. "Look, Layla. I don't want to get in the middle of this," he said, his voice suddenly cold. "My new girlfriend. She wouldn't understand me getting involved in your drama. I'm sorry." Before I could say another word, he hung up. Another door slammed shut. Another person had chosen to believe the lie. I was in a freefall. My fiancé was gone. My family had turned on me. And the one person who could help prove part of the lie, Khaled, had hung up on me. I tried to think. What could I do? The test. The pregnancy test. Salma said it was positive, but I knew it was negative. That was the one piece of physical proof I had. I ran back to my car. I didn't care that it was after midnight. I drove back to the Nile Garden Hall. The lights were off, but a cleaning crew was still working inside, mopping the floors. I ran in, my hair a mess. "Please," I said to the manager. "The party in the main hall. The trash. Did you throw it out yet?" The man looked at me, annoyed. "Ma'am, the hall is closed." "The test," I yelled, desperation making me sound crazy. "A pregnancy test. It was on the gift table. It's white and blue. I need it." He just sighed. Everything was cleared. All the trash from that event is gone. It's on its way to the city dump by now. It was gone. My only proof was gone. I walked out and sat in my car, hitting the steering wheel. I pulled out my phone and called Amir again, not expecting an answer. But he picked up. "Amir." I gasped, hope surging. "Stop," he said. His voice was dead. Empty. "Stop calling me, Layla. I'm at the airport. I'm going to Sharm el-Sheikh, our honeymoon spot. I'm going alone. I need to think. But it was negative. I cried. I saw a text on your phone last month, he said, cutting me off. A text to Khaled. You said you missed him. How can I believe anything you say? He hung up. A text. A text to Khaled? My mind was spinning. I didn't have Khaled's number. What was he talking about? I opened my text messages, my fingers scrolling back frantically. 1 month. 2 months. I searched Khaled's name. Nothing. I was starting to think I was going crazy. Did Salma steal my phone? Did Amir imagine it? Then my eyes landed on a chat with my best friend, Miriam. It was from 3 weeks ago. My stomach dropped. I read the exchange. My dog, a beautiful golden retriever I had for 15 years, had passed away. His name was Khaled, named after a character in a book we both loved. Miriam had texted, "How are you holding up?" I had written back, "It's awful. The apartment is so quiet. I just miss him so much." I had even sent a picture of my old dog with the text. Amir hadn't seen the whole chat. He must have just glanced at my phone and seen the words "I miss him" and the name Khaled in the contact picture I had for Miriam, which was of her and Khaled the dog. My sister. Salma must have seen that text, too. That's where the whole twisted lie came from. It wasn't just a random act of cruelty. It was planned. She had been waiting. I tried to call Amir back, to explain this insane, heartbreaking coincidence. The call didn't go through. User busy. I tried again. It went straight to a recording. He had blocked my number. I was completely cut off. Amir had blocked me. My parents weren't speaking to me. I sat in my dark apartment, feeling like the walls were closing in. I had one person left. One. I called my best friend. Miriam. I whispered, my voice breaking as soon as she answered. I need you. 10 minutes later, she was at my door. I spilled everything out, the words tumbling over each other in a messy, tear-filled rush. The announcement. Salma's accusation. The test. Khaled the man. Amir leaving. And finally, the text message. I showed her my phone, my finger shaking as I pointed to the conversation about Khaled the dog. Miriam's eyes went wide with shock, then narrowed with a fire I had never seen before. That monster, she breathed. She planned this, Layla. This is not just jealousy. This is evil. She stood up and started pacing. No. I'm not letting this happen. Before I could even ask what she was doing, she grabbed my phone. Give me your parents' email. And Amir's. And his parents, too. He blocked me, Miriam. It won't work. He didn't block me, she said, her voice hard. She took a screenshot of the entire text conversation. The date. The picture of the dog. My message. Her reply. Then she opened her email and attached the picture. Her fingers flew as she typed. Subject. The truth. Read this. She sent it. I barely slept. I just sat on my couch, staring at my phone, waiting for something to happen. Miriam had stayed with me, a silent, solid presence in the wreckage of my life. Around noon the next day, my phone finally rang. It was my mother. My heart leaped into my throat. I answered, but said nothing. Layla, she said. Her voice was thin, unsteady. We got an email from Miriam. I heard my father's voice in the background, low and angry. Your mother and we've been talking. We may have been hasty. Hasty. I said, my voice cold. You believed her. You left me alone. I know, my mother said, starting to cry. But Layla, why would she do this? Why would she make up something so vile? The question hung in the air. Finally, my own mother was asking the right question. I don't know, Mom, I said, my voice tired. You'll have to ask her. We will, she said, her voice suddenly firm. Your father is. He is furious. I felt a tiny, cold spark of satisfaction. It wasn't hope, not yet. But it was something. Layla, my mother said, her voice changing. Hold on. Amir's mother is on the other line. She got the email too. She's calling me right now. My breath caught. It was happening. The lie was so big, but the truth was finally starting to push back. My mother put me on hold. I sat there, listening to the faint, tinny music, my leg bouncing so hard it shook the sofa. Miriam gripped my hand. This is it, she whispered. Stay strong. It felt like an eternity, but it was probably only 2 minutes. Layla, are you there? My mother's voice came back, sounding breathless. Yes, I'm here. That was Samira. Amir's mother, she said. She got Miriam's email. She said she read it 3 times. She said she remembered you showing her pictures of your dog, Khaled. She remembered the name. My heart was pounding. She called Amir. Right away. He's still in Sharm el-Sheikh. She told him to open his email. Now. My mother paused, taking a shaky breath. Samira said she heard him go silent on the phone. For a full minute. She said he didn't say anything. And then she just heard him whisper, "Oh my God, what have I done?" I closed my eyes, the relief so strong it made me dizzy. He knew. He finally knew. He knew I wasn't the monster. My sister was. He's booking a flight home, my mother said softly. He's on his way back, Layla. He was coming back. But as the relief washed over me, a new cold feeling replaced it. He had left. He hadn't trusted me. He had believed the worst, and it only took one sentence from my sister to make him run. He was coming back, but I didn't know what I would do when he got here. An hour later, my father called. His voice was grim, a tone I had only heard a few times in my life. Layla, I need you to come to the house. Now. Why? I asked, my stomach twisting. Your mother and I are here. And so is Salma. It's time we finished this. As a family. I wanted to say no. I wanted to hide. But Miriam looked at me. Go, she said. You have to face her. You're not the one who's in trouble anymore. I walked into my family's living room, the same room where Salma had smirked at me. She was sitting on the couch, looking annoyed. My father stood by the window, his back to the room. Salma, he said, his voice dangerously calm. You lied. Salma scoffed. Oh, please. You're taking her side now? Because of some stupid email. I'm not taking a side, my father said, turning around. His face was thunderous, a deep, dark red. I am standing with the truth. You twisted her words. You humiliated this family. You destroyed your sister's engagement. You did this. Why? This was the first time I had ever seen my father truly angry at Salma. She always got away with everything. Cornered, her eyes darted between me and my father. And then she did what she always did. She burst into tears. Because she has everything, she wailed, her voice rising. She always gets everything. The good grades, the easy friends, and him. She always gets what I want. It's not fair. My father just stared at her, his face unmoved by her tears. This is not about fairness. This is about your cruelty. Salma's tears stopped instantly, her face hardening. She was in a panic, a cornered animal, and she was about to bite. You're all believing her? You're all just going to believe her over me? After what else I found? She stood up, her eyes blazing with a new, frantic energy. You think the text was the only thing? You're all fools. She ran from the living room, and we heard her slam her bedroom door. My mother looked at me, her face pale. What now? Before I could answer, Salma was back. She was holding a piece of paper, waving it like a flag. It was a printed bank statement. My bank statement. How had she gotten that? She's been funding him. Salma shrieked, throwing the paper onto the coffee table. You think she's so innocent? Look. My father picked it up. I leaned over, my blood running cold. She had highlighted several transactions, one for each of the last 6 months. They were e-transfers, all for hundreds of pounds. And they were all labeled, K. Salim. My father looked at me, his face confused, the anger wavering. Layla? Khaled's full name is Khaled Salim. What is this? Were you sending him money? Salma crossed her arms, a vicious, triumphant smirk back on her face. She thought she had me. I looked at the bank statement, at the highlighted name, K. Salim. I looked at Salma's smug, hateful face. And for the first time in my life, I didn't feel scared of her. I didn't feel weak. I felt nothing. Just a cold, clear calm. That's not Khaled Salim, I said, my voice suddenly strong and steady. It didn't even waver. My father and mother looked at me, surprised by my tone. What? My father asked. I pulled out my phone. I didn't rush. I took my time. I opened my internet browser and went to a donation page. I turned the phone around and showed it to my father. On the screen was a picture of a smiling young woman with no hair. The title of the page read, Help Karima Fight. Her name, I said, pointing to the screen, is Karima Salim. My old roommate from college. She's battling cancer. I've been helping with her treatments. You can read her story right there. I scrolled down to the donor list. There was my name, plain as day, next to the same amounts from the bank statement. Salma's face went white. That's... She stammered. You're lying. You made that. Call her, I said, cutting her off. I tapped the contact button on the page and held my phone out to my father. Go on. Call her right now. Ask her who I am. Ask her who K. Salim is. My father took the phone from my hand. His fingers were shaking, but his eyes were like steel. He pressed the button. He put the phone on speaker. We all stood in the silent living room, listening to it ring. 1 ring. 2 rings. Hello. A weak voice answered, thin and breathy. Hello, my father said, his voice thick. May I please speak to Karima Salim? This is she, the voice replied. My name is Hossein, my father said. I am the father of Layla. Do you know her? The voice on the phone suddenly brightened. Layla. Oh my goodness, yes. She is a lifesaver. Literally. I don't know what I would have done without her. The money she's been sending has. It's been helping me pay for the medicine my insurance won't cover. She is my angel. My mother let out a sob and covered her mouth. I just stared at Salma. Her face had drained of all color. She was looking at the door, as if planning her escape. Thank you, Karima, my father said, his voice breaking. God bless you. Goodbye. He hung up the phone. He slowly placed it on the table. Then he turned to Salma. The final piece of her lie had disintegrated. He looked at her not with anger, but with a new, terrifying coldness. A coldness that was worse than yelling. You, he said, his voice low, are no longer welcome in this house. Pack your things. Get out. I left my parents' house as Salma was in her room, slamming drawers. My father had told her to be gone by the time he got back from walking my mother. I went home to my own apartment. I felt vindicated, but also hollow. I had won. The truth was out. But my engagement was still broken. My heart was still in pieces. I sat on my couch, the silence of the room deafening. My phone rang. It was Amir. He had landed. My hand hovered over the screen. This was it. I answered. Layla, he said. His voice was a raw whisper. He sounded like he had been crying. Layla, I'm I'm at the airport. I'm back. I am so sorry. I am the biggest fool on earth. I don't have an excuse. I saw her, and she was so sure, and all my worst fears. I failed you, Layla. I failed us. I believed her. Can you ever forgive me? I listened to him, the man I loved, the man who had walked out on me, the man who had blocked my number, the man who had left me to be torn apart by my family and a room full of strangers. He was sorry. I knew he was. But sorry wasn't magic. It couldn't erase the last 2 days. Amir, I said, my voice tired, all the fight gone out of me. I'm so tired. I'm just so tired. There was a long, painful silence. I don't know, I whispered. I honestly don't know. I hung up the phone. I sat in my apartment for a whole day. Miriam came by with food, but I couldn't eat. Amir texted me, long paragraphs of apologies, of self-hatred, of begging. I'm at my parents' house. I'm waiting. Just tell me what I can do. I read them, but I didn't reply. I needed to be quiet. I needed to figure out if the love I felt was stronger than the betrayal. On the second night, there was a loud, angry knock on my door. It wasn't Amir's knock. I looked through the peephole. It was Salma. She looked terrible. Her hair was a mess, her eyes were red and swollen, and she was holding a small suitcase. She must have been staying at a hotel. I opened the door, but blocked the entrance with my body. What do you want, Salma? You've won, haven't you? She hissed, her voice like snakes. You did it. You turned everyone against me. You got me kicked out of my own home. You did this to yourself, Salma, I said, my voice flat. No, she snarled. You won't have him. You won't get your happy ending. She pulled out her phone, her fingers flying. I just sent him something. A little video from my bachelorette party last year. Remember that? You drunk, admitting you never thought you'd settle down. And that, Amir is nice, but he's no great love story. Good luck explaining that, you witch. My heart sank. I remembered that night. I'd had too much to drink, and we were playing a stupid game. I had said that. Salma laughed. A wild, crazy sound. He'll never trust you now. Never. But as she was laughing, a figure walked up the pathway behind her. It was Amir. He looked exhausted, his eyes shadowed, but he was here. I already got it, he said, his voice firm. Salma spun around, her face dropping in shock. Amir, what are you? And Salma demanded, a desperate hope in her eyes. Did you see it? She doesn't love you. I saw it, Amir said, stepping forward. And I also got the rest of the video you conveniently cut off. He pulled out his own phone. Miriam sent it to me this morning. She was recording too. He pressed play. The clip showed me, drunk, at the party. Amir is nice, but he's no great love story. The video continued. I laughed and leaned in, my voice suddenly serious. And I'm so glad. Because great love stories in movies are full of drama and fighting. Amir. He's real. He's my home. He's my peace. He's everything. My hand flew to my mouth. I had forgotten I'd said that. Amir looked at Salma, his eyes filled with a mix of pity and disgust. You cut it off right before she said why she truly loved me. Salma's face drained of all color. It was over. She had nothing left. Every lie, every piece of proof, every last-ditch effort had been exposed. She looked at me, then at Amir, and back to me. She had been so powerful, so smug, just minutes before. Now, she just looked small. Pathetic. Amir stepped forward, standing between me and her. He didn't yell. He didn't raise his voice. He just spoke, his words low and final. Go, Salma. Go, and don't ever, ever come near Layla again. Don't call her. Don't text her. Don't go to her work. You're done. For a second, I thought she would lunge at him. But she didn't. She looked at me, her eyes filled with a new, strange emotion. It wasn't anger anymore. It was fear. She was afraid of me. She was afraid of us. She had thrown everything she had, and it had all bounced back and destroyed her instead. Without another word, she picked up her small suitcase, turned, and walked away. We watched her go down the path, under the dim streetlights, until she disappeared around the corner. I let out a breath I felt like I had been holding for 3 days. It was over. It was finally over. I turned and looked at Amir. A week passed. Amir and I talked. We talked for hours, 4 days. He was broken with guilt. I was numb with hurt. But the truth was, I still loved him. And he loved me. We were starting over, slowly, from scratch. One day, as we were having coffee, my phone buzzed with a text. Hey, Layla. Heard things got pretty crazy. Glad it's all cleared up. We should catch up. It was Khaled. My blood boiled. After he had hung up on me, after he had chosen to stay silent, he now wanted to catch up. Without thinking, I pressed the call button. He answered, sounding cheerful. Hey, stranger. You were a coward, Khaled, I said, my voice sharp and cold. His cheerfulness vanished. Whoa, Layla, what? You heard a lie that could have ruined my life, and you chose to protect your new girlfriend from drama, instead of telling a simple truth. You heard me crying, begging for help, and you hung up on me. You let me suffer. I told you, he stammered. I didn't want to get involved. That's the problem, I said. You're a coward. You're weak. I'm actually glad Salma called you. It showed me who you really are. I took a deep, satisfying breath. My sister, who you're clearly still talking to, is drama. You two deserve each other. Goodbye, Khaled. I didn't wait for a reply. I hung up and blocked his number for good. It felt amazing. Things were getting better with Amir. He was working hard to earn back my trust, and I was working hard to let him. But there was one more thing to do. My parents called me, asking me and Amir to come for dinner. Salma is at our aunt's house, my mother said. We need to talk. We sat at the dining table, the food untouched. Layla, my father started, your mother and I. We are so sorry. We failed you. I know, I said. I forgive you. But, my mother said, twisting her napkin, she is still your sister. She's getting help. A doctor. We think, in time, you all should make peace. For the family. I looked at Amir. He squeezed my hand under the table. I took a deep breath and looked at my parents. I forgive you, I said, my voice clear and firm. But I will not have a relationship with Salma. Not now. Maybe not ever. My mother started to protest. Layla, she is not safe, I said, cutting her off gently. I love you both. But my life, and the family that Amir and I are going to build, will be built on truth and safety. She is not safe. I am done being her victim. I will not make peace, just to make the family look good. This is my boundary. I hope you can respect it. My parents stared at me, seeing a woman they didn't recognize. A strong one. Finally, my father nodded slowly. We understand, he said. A month later, Amir and I got on a plane. We flew to Sharm el-Sheikh. We went to the same resort he had fled to, the one that was supposed to be our honeymoon. We walked down to the beach at sunset, just the two of us. There was an officiant there, a nice man we had hired. There were no guests. No family. No sister. Just us and the Red Sea. I wanted to replace that bad memory, Amir whispered, his eyes filled with tears as he took my hands. I wanted to make this place ours again. He slipped the engagement ring, the one I hadn't worn since that night, back on my finger. I promise to trust you, he said, his voice thick with emotion. I promise to defend you, especially from my own fears. And I promise to love you, even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. I smiled, tears streaming down my face. And I promise to love you, I said, even when you're a giant fool who runs to the airport. He laughed, a real, happy laugh. I deserve that, he said. I love you, Layla. I love you, Amir. He kissed me, and as the sun dipped below the water, it felt like the whole world had been washed clean. We were married. We had made it. We were starting over, stronger than before. Months later, I posted a photo on social media. It wasn't an engagement photo. It wasn't a wedding photo. It was me and Amir, standing on the beach in Alexandria. His hands were on my stomach, and I was visibly, happily pregnant. The caption was short, "This time, it's real. And this time, we're announcing it our way. Baby boy, coming this spring." The comments were a flood of love. My parents. Amir's parents. Miriam. Even Karima Salim, who was now in remission. There was nothing but joy. My life, which had been a dark, twisted mess, was now so simple. So good. As I was reading the comments, my phone buzzed with a text from a new number. My heart skipped a beat. It was from Salma. Just 3 words. Congratulations. I'm sorry. I stared at the text for a long moment. A year ago, it would have meant everything. It would have been the victory I craved. But now, it was just sad. I took a deep breath, feeling the small kick of my son. I didn't reply. I just set my phone down on the table, silencing the notification. I turned back to my husband, who was smiling at me, and I smiled back. I was finally, truly free. Thank you for reading my story. The most painful betrayals often come from those closest to us. If you believe in the power of truth and in finding happiness after the storm, please like this story and share it with someone who needs to know they're not alone. And subscribe for more stories about love, truth, and fighting for your own happy ending.